Have you ever wondered about the secret escape routes that enslaved African Americans used to break free from the clutches of the brutal institution of slavery? What were the hidden paths, coded messages, and daring acts of courage that defined the Underground Railroad? How did ordinary individuals, risking their lives, help pave the way to freedom for those desperate for emancipation? The institution of slavery was one of the worst parts of the United States' troubled past. Before the United States really came together, there was a big gap between the North, which became the Union, and the South, which became the Confederacy. This divide was made worse by the fact that the Southern states' economies were based on the brutal system of slave labor, which was necessary to grow cash crops like cotton and tobacco. Slaves were treated like things, and their owners had full control over their lives. They could be bought, sold, or even killed without any consequences. On the other hand, the North had a more diverse economy that was based on industry, trade, and shipping. Even though slavery was still legal in some northern states, rising opposition to this immoral practice led to the growth of the abolitionist movement. The Underground Railroad, a way to freedom and hope. The Underground Railroad was one of the most amazing and uplifting things to happen during this time. It was a secret network of escape routes and safe houses that helped enslaved African Americans escape from the dangerous South to the relatively safe and free North. The Underground Railroad was not a real railroad. Instead, it was a complicated network of secret paths that helped slaves get from one safe place to the next until they reached their final goal, freedom. Along the Underground Network, these safe places, which were often private homes or other hidden spots, were called stations. Origins and operation. The Underground Railroad started in the late 18th century, but it became very important in the years running up to the American Civil War. Both black and white abolitionists were the most important people in this movement. These brave people gave people who were running away from slavery food, housing, and rides. Even though they knew they could go to jail, pay fines, or be hurt, these friends did not change their minds about helping slaves on their way to freedom. The Underground Railroad ran in secret and used a system of coded messages and signs to make sure that people on the run were safe. For example, a quilt hung on a clothesline could mean safety, while certain designs of stones on a wall could point to a hidden path. African American men, women, and children of all ages left farms and went north to start a free life. Their hard journey often took hundreds of miles, and they often had to walk. Slave hunters, lynch mobs, and other dangers followed them everywhere they went, getting away to freedom. As the Underground Railroad grew, African Americans went on dangerous trips, depending on their strength, creativity, and the help of strangers. Many slaves who ran away went to places like Atlanta, Charleston, and Richmond, where they could blend in with other African Americans. Often, other runaways or free blacks helped them do this. Some even set up their own camps in remote rural areas, where they stole food and other goods from nearby plantations to make a hard living. People who lived in border states like Maryland, Kentucky, and Virginia had a shorter and less dangerous way to freedom. For example, the unguarded border of Pennsylvania was a sign of hope. Slaves who fled were often able to reach safety by getting on northbound ships. But the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 made things a lot harder. This law not only made it harder for slaves to get away, but it also punished people who helped them or did not follow the law. A Lighthouse of Courage, Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman is one of the most well-known people connected to the Underground Railroad. Tubman was born into slavery in Maryland in the early 1820s. She saw directly how cruel the system was. She was determined to get away. So in 1849, she ran away to Philadelphia and became an important part of the Underground Railroad. Over the next 10 years, she made about 13 dangerous trips back into slave states and helped more than 70 people escape. Tubman was a true star of the movement because she was brave, smart, and always worked hard for the cause. What do you think of the video? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.